Good morning. My name is Adam Khan. This is my half-ass channel. Forgive if I'm panting. I'm on my walk. I try to walk pretty much every day. Um, Real proud of myself, actually. I'm down about 50 or 60 pounds, but that's a separate issue. Well, separate discussion. So I'm not a financial planner. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a lawyer. Thanks, buddy. Please use any of this information on my channel as entertainment purposes only. Reach out to your financial planner, your accountant, or your lawyer for any financial decisions you make. So, I don't know if any of you tuned in to my discussion about calls and puts and Rivian that I've been trading. So I think it's a good opportunity to follow up because Rivian's been going against me, and it's a good example of how I think to continue to trade with the options. So Rivian announced that they were going to sell $1.3 billion of notes that'll expire sometime in 2029. And as a stockholder, that sucks. I mean, who wants a company taking on more debt? Because that means their ability to earn goes down because they got to pay those note holders, which impacts your returns. But whatever, it's part of it, and you move on. So what I talked about the other day was selling puts to get into a position. I already have a small position in Rivian, and I was short either one or two of the 16 puts and two of the 15 puts. And at least this morning it was under 15. Now, I have to wait until Friday to see where it ends up. But this morning, yesterday when they announced the news, the stock fell from 17 to like 14 and a half, which is a hell of a move. And I figured this morning maybe it would have a little follow through, but probably got some good volume. And the analysts who know what that does in terms of impacting future earnings probably have a good system that price where it should be in terms of fair value. So my thought was, let it open this morning and maybe sell another put, which is what I did. I sold the 14 put as well. The point of it is, one of the things I said in the video that you have to be careful of is sometimes stocks just keep going and they can go against you. So you have to pick a company that, if you're stuck owning the stock, that's okay. So on the new puts that I'm going to get assigned at 16 and probably 15, assuming we close in the 14s by Friday, and possibly the 14s, I'll reverse and start selling some calls against it. And I tend to do the weekly options. On a $15 stock, if I can get 20 cents a week per 100 shares, that's significant. I mean, 5 weeks, that's $1 on a $15 stock. 10 weeks, you're at $2, and you're well above 10%. In 10 weeks at 20 cents a week. That's why I like them. And if I'm wrong and the stock continues to go lower, I'll push out later dated options to continue to collect premium. Because what the premium is in the option is a lot more than stock. There are 4 Greek symbols that go into the valuation of stock, that go into the valuation of options that aren't in the stock price. Now, what most people understand, sort of, is what's called the deltas, which is kind of like how much stock you own, the way that an option trader would think of it. If you have a $15 stock and a 15 call or a 15 put, since from the trader standpoint, there's a 50-50 chance either way, you have a 50 delta right at the strike price. And to hedge that, they would do the opposite position with half the number of shares. So if they had to sell a call, which is 100 shares, and now they're short a call, they would probably buy 50 shares of the stock to hedge that trade. As the stock continues to move, they have gamma, which indicates the expected amount it'll change as the stock moves. They'll continue to hedge that position. There's also theta, which is time decay, meaning each day that the option gets closer to expiration, you're going to gain that value as a seller, and you would have paid that time as a buyer. And then you also have the vega, which is the volatility. You know, we all talk of it as volatility. Don't really know why they have the Greek characters to delineate it, but they do. And the volatility index also determines the price, because the more volatile the stock, the more expensive the option will be, just because it moves around more. So it'll go through more strike prices than stocks that don't move a lot. Hopefully that all makes sense. If it doesn't, feel free to reach out and ask. I'll be happy to explain it better. So anyway, we'll see how Rivian continues throughout the week. Like I said, I thought I saw it got as low as like 14 and a quarter. Last I saw it was like 14.50 or 14.60s. But I thought, since it's a trade going against me, it might be kind of fun for you guys to play along and watch what happens. Fortunately, I sold some calls against the stock I already owned, so you collect that premium while it falls. But I'll have to move out to further dates to sell 19 and 20 and 22 type of calls and wait longer on the premium. And hopefully in time the stock gets taken. But I also recognize that, you know, Rivian could go to zero. I don't know a ton about the company, and I try to keep that in mind when I make these trades. So anyway, subscribe, like, dislike, like, let's have some conversation. If you disagree with some of the stuff, by all means, put that stuff up. I love to argue this stuff. You know, I think that's what helps us learn and get better and grow. So happy to discuss any of it. A little bit about me, just real quick. I was a commodities trader in Chicago for 10 years. I worked at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and I primarily traded yen futures. But I've been trading for over, 30 years. God, that makes me pretty old, doesn't it? But I trade stocks, bonds, currencies, options, real estate. I really try to keep an eye on all markets, because I love that stuff. I find it so interesting. And I also like to travel. So anyway, again, like, subscribe. Don't. I'm cool talking to myself. I think the Rivian trade will be interesting to watch it play out. Since I make it public, I'll have to stick to my rules a little bit better than I normally do, because I don't always stick to what I say. But as long as I have you guys watching me, I'm going to feel a little obligated to follow through with it. So have a great day. Talk to you soon.